Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Walking with J.Beau. Once again, hope you're having a beautiful spring. As you can see, the snow is melting even more. Feels very warm today. Sun's out, at least temporarily. So we have clouds. You can see I need to try to avoid getting wet from cars going by. Not always successful. Back feels good today. So we're going to do about 5.5 miles today, I'm guessing. A lot of things going on in the world right now. We're waiting to find out what's going to happen with Putin and Ukraine. Hope for the best with that. It's been kind of quiet lately because the media has been talking about other stuff. But people are still fighting and dying there, unfortunately. And I sincerely hope everybody is enjoying what we voted for. The EU is paying their fair share for defense of Europe. That's what we voted for. At least that's what I voted for. So this Representative Jasmine Crockett from Texas is supposedly one of the people that are trying to become the face of the Democratic Party by being controversial. And she ended up making fun of Governor Abbott because he's in a wheelchair. She issued a statement and she won't apologize for it. She should be censured by the Republicans in Congress and held accountable for that behavior. And it's pretty wild when the only recourse for the Democratic Party, in light of losing everywhere else, Democratic Party is at 26% today. That's a point less than they were 2 weeks ago. 26%. Unbelievable. So, as I trudge through this snow here, there's a dog that's going to eat me. It's okay. It's all right. Calm down. The dog wants to eat me. So anyway, Democratic Party is really lost right now. They're either going after Trump full force, thinking that that's going to win popularity back for them, which it isn't. They're being held hostage by the 30% of radicals in their party, which is fine by me. I hope they keep doing what they've been doing. They should be dealing with their stupid policies, like men playing in women's sports, defund the police. Started that in 2020. They waned away from it a little bit in 2022 when they realized it was not a winning political stance. Have no idea why leadership in the party didn't know that intuitively. And I'll be willing to guess it's because their mega donors, their oligarchy that they always cry about with Republicans, sent them down that road. That's why we had attorney generals across the country funded by George Soros to do things, neo-Marxist things, like going after lesser charges to not really punish violent criminals, coddling immigrants, coddling drug crimes, basically just being soft on law on purpose, intentional. Cashless bail, not arresting people for crimes under $1,000 with theft of property, turning it into a misdemeanor offense. Sanctuary cities. I mean, it's an endless list of stupid, non-common sense things that the Democrats did, and now they're stuck with it. They're stuck with their policies. They have to own it. And that's what's happening. Governor Janet Mills here in Maine has doubled down on the Title IX nonsense, saying Trump cannot dictate law from tweets and posts on the internet, without realizing that this is the Department of Justice with Pam Bondi. And they were found to be in violation of Title IX in Maine. And they are going to lose. So, most of these lawsuits against Trump are going to lose. They're frivolous. They're just an obstruction delay tactic. One of them is going before the Supreme Court very shortly, which is the ability of President Trump to fire temporary employees, which makes up a pretty large portion of the administrative branch's policy of cutting government waste. The lawsuit against him is claiming that you can only fire people if you have a just cause to, and they were notified previously. As far as I know, from business law that I took in school, in college, you don't need a reason to fire people. You can fire people for whatever reason you want. You just cannot fire people because of discrimination. That's it. Very basic law. If you do a job interviews, hiring somebody, let's say you own a Hooters, which was actually a business I chose for my essay I wrote in college, that some woman comes in who's 90 years old, believes that she looks like she's 20. She wants a job at Hooters. Well, obviously, Hooters, flip the camera around. Hi, everybody. Hello, my friends. Obviously, Hooters cannot discriminate for age and say that this person cannot have the job. But obviously, this would not be helpful to Hooters unless they actually mounted a PR campaign and hired somebody that was 90 to tell the rest of the world to come on in for a job, but I don't think that's going to happen. So basically what I'm saying is a business cannot refuse somebody's employment because of age. So when somebody comes in for a job application, whether it's a 90-year-old man wanting to be a bouncer at a nightclub, you have to give them an application. You can't say, no, we're not giving you an application because you're old. Come on, man. That's discrimination. So what you do is you let them fill out an application, and then after they leave, you toss it in the garbage. Or you put it with the rest of the applications and you never call them, which is effectively the same thing. But you have to honor them filling it out, and that's fair, right? You know, somebody has mental illness and they're 95 years old and they believe they're 20, they would be pretty upset, right? It's understandable. But anyway, you absolutely do not need a reason to fire people. It can be a financial decision, which this is with the government, and you can just say, well, Our business is going in the wrong direction. We're in the red. We need to cut employees. So you're all fired. You're non-essential. So that's basically what's going to end up being ruled by the Supreme Court with Trump's request for an emergency thing in front of the court. Unless there's some kind of regulation in there somewhere. But basically, the president is the head of the executive, which is the equivalent of a CEO of a company not being able to fire you when you work for him. These people are... And that's all it is. This is just delay obstruct. They're trying to get through Trump's presidency with the least amount of damage done. That's what they did the last time. I hope we don't have another pandemic as a last resort. And this time around, unfortunately, if they did that, it would have to be a real one. That would be their nuclear option, I guess. I don't think they would burn the village to save it, but we've seen them do that with other topics. And maybe the NIH isn't going to wait around till Trump fires everybody. You know what I'm saying? A little internal subversive deep state action. I guess we'll see. Certainly hope not. Hey, it's melting. It's melting. See, you just said we're going to get more snow. Saturday. Range day, 1 to 3 inches it says, and then a little bit of rain snow mix Sunday. So both days look terrible this weekend in Maine. One to 3 inches would be good because that'll be gone by the end of the day as soon as the sun hits it. I mean, 2 days ago we had 6 inches. Grass is already poking up. It's melting. It's because it's still freezing at night. So, nice bright sunshine today, despite it being cloudy. We'll enjoy it while it's here, because it won't be here long. And yes, I'm squinting. The sun is bright. And I've been asked a lot of times, well, one time, why I don't wear sunglasses when I walk. A bunch of different reasons I've explained before. One of them is human-to-human eye contact. When you're wearing sunglasses, people can't see your eyes. So if somebody's coming up to an intersection and I'm looking at my camera talking to you, they're going to see the sunglasses looking at the camera and they're going to think I don't see them, when in all actuality, I turn my eyes to the side and I'm looking. I want other people to see that. I have noticed that on my walks, that it is beneficial because I can tell when people see me or not, and I can tell when people know that I can see them. So unless you got some kind of eye condition or something like that where it really bothers you, I just don't feel comfortable wearing them. And like I've explained before, with cortical cataracts, I lose some contrast acuity, I guess I'll call it, which means I haven't lost vision, but the way my eyes refract lights on the outer perimeter, because cortical cataracts, you can look those up if you want. There's that big dog again. Right. So we got. Yeah, he's a friendly dog. He remembers me.
Guy, come here. Hey.
That's that big giant sheepdog. Wolfhound. Giant wolfhound. The one he told me that they were used mainly in combat to pull people off horses. That's a big dog, and I believe it too. So it is nice today. It's absolutely gorgeous. Sun's trying to break out for good. We'll see. Clouds are kind of thin. Well, we might have some sunshine stick around, I guess. It's starting to look less bleak than it did earlier. So I watched the press conference today with Ms. Leavitt, and she's emphatically stating that the Atlantic, with Goldberg, who has been one of the chief pushers of conspiracy lies about Trump since he's been president, maintains that the Atlantic is making a story out of thin air. No classified information was discussed in that chat. People have been using that signal, encrypted chat, for a long time in the government. So, pretty outrageous stuff. And they're trying to create this news story. And then to see a sitting congressman yesterday during the question of Intelligence Committee people asking if Pete Hegseth was drunk at the time of the texting, when Pete Hegseth isn't the one that was supposedly let in this journalist into an encrypted chat, group chat. So of course the Democrats are going to demand resignations and blah blah blah. Simple fact is the Democrats are losing, and they're desperate. They're literally grasping at anything with the help of the media to try to make it a story. And, you know, the media doesn't have any bite. They've lied to the people too much. It's like the crying wolf. So it looks like I'll get away with walking this route today. They plowed pretty wide. And of course, a lot of it melted. You can see the line. It used to be up to here. It's already receded. I think we'll be safe. I don't know what to talk about today. I don't have to talk every minute I'm walking. That's a new barn somebody built just before winter. I want to wish my friend Johnny well. He just had his third or fourth heart procedure. He's almost 70. Too young to be having heart issues. So I wish him well. Maple syrup buckets are still out. Over here. See them all? A whole bunch of buckets on these trees. That's pretty cool. Oh, there's a guy collecting the buckets. He's dumping all the maple sap out. Look at that. Across the street too. So they must be contracting, paying these people. Hey, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good. That time of year. Pretty good haul this year?
What?
Good haul this year?
Better than last year.
Very nice. I'll cut across over here. How you doing? Not too bad. Oh, very nice. I've never seen them empty the buckets before. They're picking up the maple syrup. Said the haul this year was better than last year. Real maple syrup goes for really good money. Well, that's nice. I got to see him taking in the maple syrup. Ooh. Oh. We got some snow melt creeping down the road. Here it comes. That. We're flooding down the road, folks. See a drainage pipe over there. All the water running out of it on the side of that big building here. This storage place. Actually feels like spring today. This is nice. The air doesn't have that cold chill to it. It's all melting off the roof. Pond back there still has ice on it. That'll be melting. Waterfowl are out there. You can see them from here. I know you can't. It's like some geese. Got some geese hanging out there. Honk, honk. So, I'm really happy to live in this neighborhood. It's a nice area to walk in. It's safe. It's Trump country, by the way, for the most part. Still can't believe we won the election. It's been what, 6 weeks, almost 2 months? Almost 2 months. Things are kicking in. Egg prices have gone down considerably since the last time I told you they went down. So we're going to have some normalcy. The real notice is going to be when the energy policies kick in. That's going to be good. So we got the energy policies that are going to kick in with former Governor Burgum in charge of that. Then you have Lee Zeldin, excellent Republican congressman, well educated, heading the EPA, and make a lot of these stupid regulations disappear that Trump erased with executive orders, or permitting. We're going to start making Alaska rich. We're going to start bringing up oil everywhere that we can find it. And natural gas too. You can do a search if you want to. I've told people this before. But the United States has more untapped natural resources like oil, natural gas, things like that, than any other country. I'll say that again. The United States has more oil under us than anywhere in the world. We just have to go get it. And we have to. Pretty much the entire 70s, the United States and the economy is a prime example of why we have to go after it. As much as the climate people would like to scream about, everything made out of plastic comes from oil, vinyl, and you just have to have it. You know, you're not going to carve your GPS system in your car out of wood. They'd scream about that too. You're killing trees! You're killing trees! Like, come on, guys. Trees can regrow. It'll be a long time before there's more oil, but the weight and pressure from the earth will make more oil. Right now it's you know, you have high grade oil and low grade oil, you have shale oil, and you have the stuff that we have the technology to get now from fracking, who apparently now the Democratic Party supports fracking since they realize they can't win elections if they don't. And that's all I'm saying. Reality will set in with these people because it has to. They're so messed up right now. The leading automotive maker that makes electric vehicles, which is good for the environment, according to them. Notice I said according to them. They're now trying to bankrupt and sabotage and vandalize and be violent too. So Senator Mark Kelly of Arizona, astronaut, former astronaut and service member, got rid of his Tesla and got a gas guzzling four-wheel drive SUV, and probably a sign of the biggest Trump derangement syndrome symptom is things like that. Giving up their core principles and ideals just to F Trump and Elon Musk. Because their government waste is what they're cutting. And they're cutting government waste. And they're defending cutting government waste. Everything the Democratic Party is doing right now is wrong, stupid, just, it's mind-boggling. It's Trump derangement syndrome. I think Trump is right. I think it's a terminal illness with these people. Unbelievable. But whatever. Now you get a bunch of conservatives, thankful to Elon Musk, we're actually going to take a look at getting an electric vehicle. I would get one, and I had two criteria, practicality and longevity, both in miles and of the batteries that are in the car. There's plenty of evidence that's been written about electric batteries in these vehicles don't last. They last 4 or 5 years and they start to deplete. Can't have that in New England with the winters, so you'd have to plug your batteries in, charge them overnight, and a warmer that keeps the batteries warm. so you have ample power. Well, they do that with gasoline engines in Canada, but that's because it's 30 below zero. Very difficult to start your car unless you leave the engine block plugged in overnight. There's usually a plug on the engine block. You plug in and you just let it charge overnight. Let the heater that is in the manifold, it doesn't heat your engine up to a high temperature. It just keeps it warm enough to be able to turn over in the morning. Because if you've ever been on a 15 to 20 degree morning, I've done this, where you want to go put more oil in the snowblower that you keep out in the shed. You tip the container of oil and caramel comes out. It's all gobby, thick, just like caramel. And so when you have that in your engine has a hard time to get the viscosity going, which is why a lot of times you'll change oil viscosity for seasonal. You'll have what's called a seasonal oil change, so your car starts easier. My car uses 5W30. I've not had any issues, but anyway, you know, there's other debates about oils, like don't put synthetic in your old engine. I would agree with that. Not because it'll do damage to your engine, it won't, but what it'll do is it's so much better than regular oil. It will actually find old gaskets that were previously protected because the viscosity is better with the synthetic, that it will actually find leaks that weren't there before. So recommended for an older car is getting what's called a blend, 50-50 blend, something like that, where it's 50% synthetic, 50% from oil. So, oh, this person saw me, so that's good. See, I don't have my little side strip here, so I really have to watch cars coming over a crest like that. That's how Stephen King got hit and almost killed. I don't want to get Stephen Kinged. So we're gonna walk. You can see how I'm walking. I have to keep up with the side of the road. I'm talking to you, and I have to watch ahead too. So my priority is watching ahead, which is what I'm doing. My pinched nerve in my neck feels a lot better today. Good news is if somebody's coming at me in a car, I got a nice bunch of melted soft snow off to the side. Now we had somebody up ahead that just swerved, so there's somebody else walking across the street. And I gotta tell you, it's very, very few drivers that don't see you when you're walking. So I'm looking up ahead. Right. So she's walking behind me there. She's out walking today. I can see ahead, there's no cars coming. So, that good incline I just walked up, I feel that in my hamstrings behind my legs, which is why I am walking. So I'm wearing long sleeve thermal shirt, t-shirt on top of that. Then I have another long sleeve hockey jersey over that. And then I have this rather thick hoodie on top of that. So I am plenty warm. I'm actually sweating really well right now. Pretty soon you'll be walking with me and you'll notice I'll get sweat on my eyebrows, which feels a little damp right now actually. So this is really good cardiovascular exercise, walking. It exercises your heart, keeps your lungs functioning like they should, and will also tell you if you have physical problems. And what I mean by that is by the cardiovascular system. Atrial fibrillation will pop up, things like that. I noticed when my iron gets low and I'm anemic, which I will get if I don't maintain it, and have experienced it on walks before, where I'll feel my heart pounding extra hard and start feeling lightheaded, which is a warning sign you don't want and you should see a doctor for. But I already know it causes mine, and when I adjust my B12 and iron, I don't get those symptoms. So I'll go many months without any symptoms, and then I'll be walking, okay, that's right, I haven't been taking my iron. So everybody has their own medical issues. Most of the time it's not really anything serious if you're healthy and you're not overweight and all that. But it is good. It's good to exercise your heart. It's a muscle like everything else, and got to take care of yourself, folks. Life is short, and it's even shorter when you have to spend part of your short life with health problems. If you're older and you have health problems, well, you know that's going to happen. I'm sure something will creep up on me. I'm going to be 57 in July. Knock on wood. I'd rather have only my joints to complain about. So, but like I said, if you're familiar with the Gun Channel with Paul Harrell, Paul Harrell was very fit, healthy, in his 50s. Jogged a lot. Excellent cardiovascular shape. Ate good foods, as far as I know, besides Pop-Tarts. And he got pancreatic cancer, and it was a very aggressive one, and he didn't stand a chance. So, you know, that could be me next week. So you got to enjoy every minute you're here. Always got to be positive. There's really not enough time in life to walk around being negative all the time. You know, we just had a big election win, and I know it's fundamentally going to change the country. And an entire political party is changing, the Republican one, and the entire Democratic Party is changing, and they don't want it to, but it's going to. So they are either going to go where the DNC wants the party to go, which is moderate in the middle, or you're just going to have AOC, Bernie Sanders, and that Crockett fool in Texas, Green, Maxine Waters, and all these far left idiots. And they're going to have to find out what their party is about. And then they have to have the added time of fixing the damage that's been done. Because I can tell you right now, the DNC is not in favor of this far left stupidity. But they accepted money from billionaires now they're beholden to them. And their party got screwed up by it. Now they have a lot of problems. They're already rooted. These neo-Marxists are already rooted everywhere in the Democratic Party. Good luck to them. American people have turned on them. The only Democrats are going to be in close races are going to be the ones that go moderate. And it's going to be the job of the Republicans running to circumvent that by pointing out that fact that they're just saying what they need to say to get elected. So this is going to be really interesting between this year and next election, next year. Short-term elections next year. Year and a half away already. About 18 months. So we'll see what America's made of. We're going to have to keep the House red. We're going to have to add Republican seats. Right now, to be honest with you, it's looking fairly confident that the Republicans are going to gain seats in the Senate, especially. There are 3 Democrat senators who have been there for a while who are retiring. They're stepping down. That is going to be right pickings for Republicans. And things are looking really good. And usually when you have people that step down like that, it's because they don't have the fight in them. They realize their party is on the backside of the politics. It's going to be a very difficult uphill fight. They have to do a lot of fundraising, and a lot of these guys are just, they don't have the stomach for it. And they're resigning. So Republicans may pick up 5 or 6 seats. Can you imagine the next election? To add to the 53 seats they have now. By some miracle, wouldn't it be nice if they got a 60-seat majority? Wow. But I'll tell you, the public is usually not that generous, and if they did do that, that means they're going to give the Democrats the lower chamber to balance things out. Very rare will you see the public vote for everything the president needs. And if they do, that's because they believe Trump is doing the right thing, we're on the right track. And I can tell you that the Republican Party has 46% approval right now, which is the most they have had in many decades. So, doesn't sound like a high number, but it is. Democrats are at 26%, to put that in perspective. So, the voters caught on to the shenanigans. It caught up with the Democrats, and the voters handed their asses to them, is what happened. And I am so happy it happened. And I'm so happy that a large faction of the Democratic Party is going to cling on to throwing mud at Trump, not having policies, and going far left extremism, defending government waste, defending men and women's sports, defending all the stupidity that they have promoted and destroyed their party with. It's such a beautiful thing to watch. I'm watching the Democratic Party fully implode, and put a smile on your face and enjoy it, folks. Oh, that was a, what you call a dually. That is a big, fat, wide pickup truck. Dual wheels in the back. Oh, this is peaceful today. I got sunshine out here. So today was that committee meeting this morning in Augusta at the Capitol, having to do with magazine capacities. They want to limit magazine capacities in Maine for firearms. Really burns my ass. I hope it dies in committee. The last time they promoted it, it died in committee. The only thing that's changed since then was that mass shooting we had, and the Democrats are still riding that because some public sentiment has changed ever so slightly, and that is the danger we have when we as gun owners don't speak up. You know, people knew this guy had a problem. And nobody did anything. So they're going after the magazine restrictions, capacity, and they're trying to turn the yellow flag law into a red flag law, which you have heard me state many times I do not support, because people use it for a weapon. They cheat. So anyway, I submitted my testimony via email. You had the option of going in person today or Zoom calling. The Zoom calling was all booked up, and whenever you show up in person, there's a really long wait, and there's no guarantee you're going to get in, and you have to listen to the organized anti-gun people outside. I'll leave that to younger people. I've already been there and done that. So hopefully there was a good turnout. I'll check out the Gun Owners in Maine website. They should have something on there about what happened today. And so basically their argument is, if we have just 10 rounds per magazine, it will save lives. There's literally billions of magazines across the country already. People will not have a hard time finding them, and they think making them illegal will deter people. Somebody that's going to go on a mass shooting spree and killing people isn't going to care if he gets charged with a Class D crime for having an illegal magazine. It's the stupidest thinking ever. Doesn't deter any crime at all. And 10 rounds, you push one button on a firearm, the magazine falls out, and you put in another one. There's no deterring that. What's the most rounds fired in almost all mass shootings? What's the most rounds ever fired at a mass shooting? Well, I don't know the statistics on that, but I do know that it's not 100 rounds, 150 rounds. Now, I'm just assuming, I'll admit fully, I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming you don't get more than 30 to 50 rounds fired before the person either is killed or kills himself, or everybody has left the building and there's nobody left to kill. So $10-round magazines, you push a button, a magazine falls out, and you put in another one. And that's if the person doing it followed the law. And I read the bill that's proposed, and it says that if your current magazines hold more than 10 rounds, you will have to modify them or turn them over to the police to have them destroyed and buy 10-round magazines that comply with the law they propose, or you will be charged with a Class D crime. So, to modify a magazine, you need to change the spring that's in it, because these Democrats don't know that. If you have a magazine that's 10-round magazine, it's either a full-strength spring inside with some kind of obstruction inside the magazine to prevent putting more than 10 in it. So it's just dumb, because what it means is you'll have to get rid of your magazines and buy all new ones. What if you have 200 magazines? There's a lot of Democrats here that own firearms. They're not going to want to do that. So that was part of the reasoning that ended this the last time in committee, but they, you know, they're going to bring it back from the dead. Try it again. 72-hour waiting period. That was one that was voted on and voted in the legislature and in the Senate, and it lost. They brought it back and it passed. And the only difference was the mass shooting. Didn't do anything to deter a mass shooting, but the sentiment is different now. So we need to survive this and fight against it. Can't really say more than that on here in a public forum. And I'm not going to. But basically, let them eat cake if they pass it. Ooh, I got a hill here. I'm gonna cook a nice pasta dinner in a little while. I didn't cook it yesterday like I said I was. I got sidetracked. So I read that story from 3 different interviews with Stephen King, famous author from Maine. He got hit by a car. I had always assumed he had his back towards traffic and he got hit from behind. Turns out that's not the case. He was walking like I am, side of the road. Somebody coming towards him hit him. I don't know if he wasn't paying attention or neither one of them were, but he said it was on a crest. He was walking up a crest and it came over the top of the crest, right in the breakdown lane where he was walking, and he didn't have time to get out of the way because he didn't see the car coming behind the crest. So that's the most dangerous thing when you're walking, which I know that from walking. So that's why I pay extra attention on a crest. So anyway, he got hit in the right hip. Walking towards traffic, he got hit on the right hip because the car didn't hit him square on. It hit him in the hip. It wrenched his hip because of inertia. The van was doing about 40, 45, I think. And it wrenched his hip to the right, broke his hip. And he was lying on the road when he regained some of his consciousness, or what was going on. He said he wasn't so much in pain, because that takes a while to kick in after traumatic injury. Your brain has a survival mode, adrenaline and all that. You don't feel it right away. So he said the guy that hit him came up to him, and Stephen King said he asked him if how bad his leg and stuff was messed up, because he couldn't look down to look at it. And the guy said, "Yeah, you're pretty messed up." And when the ambulance guy came, Stephen King kept asking him if he was paralyzed. He couldn't tell. He said, "Please tell me I'm not paralyzed," because he knew his whole bottom half got twisted all to hell. The paramedic guy told him, said, "No, you moved your feet." So he said that was the most important thing he heard out of that whole day, was when he was told that. So anyway, he had many surgeries. They actually transported him to the hospital here in Lewiston, where I am. So he stayed at the hospital, Central Maine Medical Center, by the middle school and the Lewiston Armory around there. We've walked by there quite a few times. And so he had some stabilizing surgeries, and then he was transported from there to another bigger hospital in the country somewhere. They have specialized stuff that rich people can afford, I guess. So anyway, I read his story on that, and it was interesting. I still think he's a jerk. He's another one of these arrogant rich people. Forgot where he came from. There was a time where he couldn't pay his phone bill, and he actually had to have a telegram sent to him because his short story for Carrie was published, and they couldn't get a hold of him. True story. His phone had been disconnected. So it was in the 70s. A lot of people didn't have money. So he goes from that to having hundreds of millions of dollars, and he lives on a lake in Maine, in Lovell. and he didn't like the boats on the lake. The boats on the lake were bothering him and his privacy. So he buys the lake. He bought the lake, and he also bought the campground that was on the lake that was renting the boats. He bought all of that just so he wouldn't have any friggin' boats bothering him. Of course, people worked at the boat place. The guy that owned the business went out of business because he didn't own the lake, and he was told not to have his boats on it. So he sold the business. Hopefully he got a good amount of money for it. But, you know, these people are fucking bastards. Excuse my French, but, you know. And I was a huge Stephen King fan. I got a whole ton of his books I bought. Loved the movies. You know, and it's like a slap in the face. It's not like a slap in the face, it is a slap in the face. So, you know, these people are terrible. They're just awful people. And, you know, it's really nice to see people realizing it. Finally. All these people that I revered, you know, Mark Hamill. Even Harrison Ford hasn't been able to keep his mouth shut. The only person I could think of that's a famous actor, two people that I really loved and loved their movies they were in, that kept their mouth shut and just went to work and shut up. That was Al Pacino and Jack Nicholson. So, pretty interesting. So anyway, we're going to be coming up to the last parts of the walk today, up ahead. And yeah, this weekend's going to be snow again, colder, and we're going to have some freezing rain stuff into Sunday, I think. So we're probably not going to have range day this week, unfortunately. I was looking forward to all the jugs that we have accumulated to shoot. They're piling up now. So the weirdest thing I saw this week on videos online was a young woman in Texas, Dallas, Texas airport. I don't know where she came out from there, but she came out of there completely naked, not wearing a stitch of clothing, walking through the airport terminal, yelling about something. I don't even know what she was talking about. And there was a large screen in there, and she kept throwing her cell phone. That's all she had with her was her cell phone. Throwing her cell phone repeatedly at the screen. She broke the screen, and it was quite a ways up there, so I'm assuming she smashed her phone too. Completely naked, barefoot, everything. And full frontal nudity and rear nudity, walking around. And the funniest thing about it was the people in the airport was like, oh wow, somebody naked. Okay, I'm gonna go catch my plane. It's like nobody really cared. So, and I shouldn't feel this way, but what was interesting about it is she was very fit, pretty, good looking, and it made me feel really sad that she had mental issues like that, and I don't know what caused it. I don't know if it's some kind of psych medication reaction or she's just psychotic. I have no idea. Completely irrational behavior. So I don't know what became of her, but running around naked in an airport terminal is not legal. So anyway, got old Glory waving across the street. Got a Trump flag waving over here. So I'm very happy it's getting warmer. Back feels good today. Very happy about that too. This is a nice view right here when that whole hillside's all covered with leaves. Though they're mostly pines. I had read about an article recently where there was a state park in Maine that had a very severe fire, and they reforested the whole thing many, many years ago. And they reforested, and what they did was they reforested with fir trees instead of the kind of trees that were there. So while that's fine, they covered the whole mountainside with pine trees, basically. I guess somebody had access to those and seedlings and whatnot, and plus pine cones are easy to distribute, so they grow trees. But it just looks weird. They would have been better off having maples and things like that. Don't know why I'm talking about that. It just popped in my head. You know, that's what I do. So we'll be cutting in front of the school up ahead here, and right about there. When I get past the school, I will end the walk. Cut across over here. Oh, look how much that's melted. It's melting! Like a fun playground. It was nice on this stretch to see all the Trump signs before the election across the street. made a big snowball. I think they were making a snowman. You got these big balls of snow they made. They rolled. Looks like fun. There we go. And a battery change. I thought I would have enough to get to the end of the school here, but I remember a couple of times I ran out right where it ran out. Maybe I should remember that next time, huh? Definitely going to be taking a walk on that trail again that runs behind this school. It's the McMahon Nature Trail. Nothing special, not very long, but it is a nice walk. I'll sign off up ahead just past the pickleball court. Some pickleball.
How you doing?
Hey, Chief. So we have gone over 5 miles now. I got a ways to go still, but I'll stop recording up ahead. a nice skyline there. Sun is kind of in and out. Filtered sun, I guess you'd call it. All right. I hear somebody pickleballing. Pickleball right there. Pickleballers. A lot of people use this court over here when it's not covered in snow and ice. All right. Well, everybody, thank you very much for walking with me today. Click like and subscribe, share the content, and we will see everybody on the next walk. God bless you. Pray the Lord above. Pray for our country. Pray for President Trump, and pray for everything to go absolutely for what we voted for. So far, so good. See you on the next walk, friends. God bless you. Bye-bye.